So before we start the video, I'd like to ask you guys to please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video, as it helps the channel grow. So let's get into it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for taking a little bit of time to spend a little time with me, your boy KT. Today, we are going to be reviewing the MLB Wildcard series. Yes, mercifully, the 162 game season is over. We have gone through all 162 games, and now the time for postseason baseball is finally here. We got the Wildcard series coming up. All 4 Wildcard series should prove to be good. Well, maybe except for one. But you know, finally over. So much stuff has changed since the last time I've made an MLB video. So I figured, why not get on here real quickly and talk about what's going to be happening in the Wildcard series, give my preview and prediction on how I think these series will go and who I think will win ultimately, and move on to the divisional round. But before we start this video, I want to let you guys know that I am still doing my $100 Amazon gift card giveaway. If you look at the screen right now, or the top right of your screen right now, you should see a link pop up right about now. Go ahead and click that link down there. I'll also post it in the pinned comment down below. Click that link to my giveaway video. Follow the rules in the pinned comment that I have listed under my giveaway video, and you should be eligible for the $100 Amazon gift card giveaway. Remember, I'm only going to announce the winner at 1,000 subscribers, so if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell, so you can be eligible and you don't miss the winner's video when I do hit 1,000 subscribers. I want to try to hit that before the end of the year, so make sure you guys hit that sub button. But without further ado, everybody, we're going to get into our first series. I'm going to start with the AL and then move on to the NL to finish up. So let's get into our first wildcard series of the postseason. All right, for our first wildcard series that I will review in this video, we are going to start with the Cleveland Guardians and the Detroit Tigers, a matchup that I did not see coming in a wild card series, but here we are. Game 1 will be tomorrow at 1:08 p.m. on the East Coast, 12 o'clock, I believe, in Central Time, and then probably 10 or 11 o'clock on the West Coast. This is a series that has implications for both teams. The Cleveland Guardians, of all teams that I picked to in this AL Central, they were the team that walked down the Detroit Tigers in this division, and in that last month of the season, they walked them down completely, and they were able to win the division. And I did not see that coming. The Detroit Tigers were rolling throughout this entire year, and that last month of the season, especially those last 2 weeks, really everything just went wrong for Detroit, and everything went right for Cleveland, and they got hot at the right time, and they were able to steal the division. And now they get home field advantage in a series that's probably going to be massive, because you play the Seattle Mariners in the next round, and that's a winnable series for whoever gets past, whoever wins this wild card series. For the probable pitchers for both teams, we do know that it is expected for Tariq Skubal to be on the mound for Detroit in Game 1, going up against Gavin Williams for the Guardians in Game 1 as well. We know it's expected that Tanner Beebe will go in Game 2 for the Cleveland Guardians, and it is expected, at least from the Guardians official website, that Slade Ciccione will go in Game 3. We do not know who will go in Game 2 or 3, if there is a Game 3 for the Detroit Tigers. For the Detroit Tigers, man, it has been rough. These last 10 games of the season, they did not play well. They went 2-8 in their last 10 games, and they backed in to the playoffs only because the Houston Astros kind of effed themselves over a little bit. But at the same time, they barely made it. Put everything behind you. For them to win this series, they have Tariq Skubal on the mound tomorrow. You have your best pitcher on the mound tomorrow. He's your ace. He's going to set the tone. Put everything behind you going into Cleveland. Forget that they walked you down. Forget that you lost the division. Forget that you lost that series to them. Put everything behind you. Reset mentally. Get back to what you were doing before, slugging the ball, playing good defense, pitching well. They got a good lineup. They can do stuff with this lineup, man. Spencer Torkelson, Riley Green, Parker Meadows, Javier Baez, Gleyber Torres. All these guys are extremely talented players. Reset mentally. get back to what you were doing correct. You know that Tariq Skubal is a very good pitcher. If you can come out and steal that game one, it's going to be massive, especially when it's going to be a rocking Cleveland crowd. They beat you before. They have the mental advantage. Scrub everything that happened in the last 2 weeks of the season. Come in there with a reinvigorated attitude, some energy, and try to steal game one, because that's the only way you're going to win this series. If Detroit comes into this series looking like they did for the last 2 weeks of the season, they're going to lose the series pretty easily. For the Guardians, I think it's just more of doing the same thing that they have been doing. They've walked down the Detroit Tigers in the last month of the season. They have guys playing well. Jose Ramirez has gotten hot. They're playing good fundamental baseball. You know, Gavin Williams, who had a breakout year for you, will probably be pitching in game one going against Skubal. If they can steal that game against a guy like Tariq Skubal, it would be massive for the Cleveland Guardians, who also have the home field advantage. The Guardians are playing with house money, man. This is their series to lose, in my opinion. They're playing with house money. They got all the momentum. They got all the mental advantages, and they got a pretty good damn lineup, especially when you get to the postseason. That man, Jose Ramirez, is a monster. Continue doing what you're doing. You have the mental advantage. You have home field advantage, and you have the mental advantage over this team. Your crowd is going to be rocking. You don't have to go to Detroit or anything like that. So for them, just keep doing what you're doing. You know, if you have them down, if you have them to a point where you can put your foot on their neck, do it. Put this team away, and they could come out with an easy victory. Because if they sense anything that the Detroit Tigers are still, you know, moping about that losing the division, they're going to sweep this team pretty easily in the wild card round. As for me, who I think will win this series, I'm going to go with Cleveland in 3. I do think that Detroit will win game one. I do think that they'll come out and set the tone. But I think that the Cleveland Guardians will end up winning this series. I think they have the mental advantage right now. I think Detroit is kind of reeling from barely making the playoffs over the Houston Astros and then just losing the division. I think that it's their series to lose. I think they have all the momentum. They're at home, and they do defend home field very well. They're 45-36 overall at home. Detroit is just over 500 on the road. So I think whoever is able to establish the momentum quickly and win this game one will win the series, and I think the Cleveland Guardians will be able to do that. They have enough talent in that lineup. They've been getting some good pitching. I think they can go ahead and pull out this series. It will be tough, but I do think they will be able to go out and pull this series and move on to the next round. So I got the Cleveland Guardians in 3. All right, Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees. This will be the second AL Wildcard series in this Wildcard round. This is probably the heavy hitter for the AL Wildcard series. These are two hated rivals going at it, two teams that duked it out throughout the season. While they did not win, either of these teams won the division, they're both capable of doing a lot of damage in the playoffs if they were to move on into the next round. This is probably going to be the heavy hitter, in my opinion. Everybody likes to watch the Boston Red Sox and New York Yankees go at it, especially when they play in the playoffs. Game one will be tomorrow at 6 o'clock on the East Coast, 5 o'clock Central Time, and probably around 4 or 3 o'clock around on the West Coast. I think 4 o'clock on the West Coast. Starting pitchers, man. Starting pitchers. For game one, we'll probably have a matchup between two left-handers and Garrett Crochet and Max Fried. That is expected to be the matchup. Game two will be Brian Bello and Carlos Rodon, another left-hander. And if we do get to a game three, Cam Schleitler will be on the mound for the Yankees. We do not know who would be on the mound for the Boston Red Sox should there be a game three. For the Boston Red Sox, I did not expect them to make the playoffs like this. They made a valiant push later in the season to make the playoffs and get that second wild card spot. They clinched just a few days ago. For the New York Yankees, they were red hot coming into the wild card round. They won 9 of their last 10 with a winning streak of 8. They will have home field advantage, thing that really advantage that they really take advantage of, as they're 50-31 at home at Yankee Stadium. You know they got those short porches that I hate in Yankee Stadium. So every ball that's going to go up in the sky is probably going to go out. And they have guys with light tower power: Bellinger, Stanton, Judge. Chisholm can add power. Grisham hit for power later in the year as well. So this is not going to be an easy series for the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox also do not play all that well on the road. They're 41-40 on the road, so just above 500. But I have faith that they'll be able to keep their bearings when they go into Yankee Stadium. The plus side of this is that the Yankees are starting a left-hander on the mound. Garrett Crochet can get the job done if needed. The Yankees do tend to strike out a lot in the playoffs as well. But against left-handers this year, the Boston Red Sox are 24-21. The Yankees are 19-17. While they are over 500, it's a lesser sample size as well. But I think they do not play as well when you put a lefty on a mound rather than a righty. The Yankees crush right-handed pitching, 75-51 against right-handed pitching. They are by far one of the best teams against right-handed pitching in the playoffs, next to the Toronto Blue Jays, who are playing in the AL as well, who won the division. For me, this series, Game 1 is important, man. Game 1 is going to be really important. Which left-handed pitcher is going to come out and set the tone? I'm expecting Garrett Crochet has to pitch well in this game. He has to. And basically, the Boston Red Sox pitching staff, they have to come to play. I know they cut Walker Buehler earlier in the year, but this pitching staff, they have to come to play. They cannot make mistakes at the plate with their pitches, or else it's going to be gone. You're playing at Yankee Stadium, so everything is going to fly out of that ballpark. Game 2 is also going to be really important because you're going to put a right-hander on the mound. Regardless of if you win Game 1, Game 2 is probably going to be the most important one because the Yankees crush right-handed pitching. I think for the Red Sox to win this series, they have to get, for me personally, they have to get Game 1 with their left-hander, their star left-hander that they traded for. That's on the mound in Game 1. They have to find a way to win that game. They got the talent. They got Ceddanne Rafaela, Masataka Yoshida. I think Trevor Story is out, but they got Alex Bregman. Rob Refsnyder came on later in the year. So they got pieces on this team that they can put up runs against Max Fried. We know you can beat up Max Fried when you get to him early. And I feel like they have the better left-hander on the mound than Crochet, but they have to take Game 1 because I'm not all that confident that Brayan Bello, despite his talent, is going to be able to hold off that Yankees lineup in Game 2. So I would like to see the Boston Red Sox come out and win in Game 1. For the Yankees, on the other hand, the Yankees are going to have to do what they always do. They're going to have to get guys on base and hit multiple home runs to be able to win and protect home field. They protect home field pretty well. They got nothing but big names in this lineup. I think with the left-handed pitching matchup in Game 1, they're going to have to find a way to manufacture runs and not just rely on the long ball like that. I also think that they do struggle on defense at times. They're going to have to figure out how to, limit the mistakes on defense. Anthony Volpe, I'm looking at you. But yeah, limit the mistakes on defense. They got home field advantage. You play damn well again at home. Defend home field, win that Game 1, and see if you can get to that Game 2 up 1-0. Because you're going up against a left-hander in Game 2. You crush left-handed pitching. If they're somehow able to steal a couple runs or two against Garrett Crochet and that Boston Red Sox team, and I think if they can get to that bullpen, I think they'll be able to win this series as well. But yeah, man, this is going to be the heavy hitter in the AL. This is the prime time matchup. This is the one everybody wants to see. Of course, it's New York and the Yankees, and they're the only New York team in the playoffs right now. So they're going to get overrated. This series is going to get overrated anyway. I think, me personally, I'm going to go with the Yankees in 3. I don't think they're going to sweep the Boston Red Sox. I don't. I think the Boston Red Sox will come out and win Game 1. But I do think with the right-hander on the mound in the second game, I do think that the Yankees will kind of knock him around, and it will come down to a crucial Game 3 at home. Yankee Stadium is going to be rocking. It's known as an offensive ballpark to begin with. I think that, with the way the Yankees have played at home, even though they haven't played well against the AL East, with the way they've played at home this season, I think that they'll be able to pull it through. Their pitching staff leaves a lot to be desired with me, but I think their offense, especially in a Game 2 against a right-hander, I think they'll be able to pull it out. We don't know who's going to be going in game 3 if there is one in this series, but I'm going to go with the Yankees in 3. I think they're going to move on and face the Toronto Blue Jays in the ALDS. But it should be a really, really good series. I would not be surprised if the Boston Red Sox do pull this off, because I do think that they could shock everybody, and because they do play the AL East very well. So I do think that they can shock everybody if they come out and play the right way. They win that game 1 and they get good pitching in that second game. So, but I will go with the New York Yankees in 3. All right, so next series we got the Cubs and Padres. In the first NL Wildcard series that I'm going to talk about. The only reason I'm talking about this series first because it's the first one that's going to be on. Game 1 is tomorrow on Tuesday at around 2 o'clock Central Standard Time, 3 o'clock on the East Coast, and 12 o'clock on the West Coast. Probable pitchers will probably be Matthew Boyd and Nick Pivetta, barring any changes in Game 1. Shota Imanaga and Dylan Cease will go at it in Game 2. And if there is a Game 3, we don't know who's going to be confirmed for the Cubs, but we know Yu Darvish will be on the mound for the Padres. But I think James Talion will be Game 3 for the Chicago Cubs if it gets that far. For the Chicago Cubs and San Diego Padres, they both had really good years, won over 90 games this year. Both were leading their divisions at some point, but kind of tailed off towards the end of the year, and the teams behind them kind of got hot and were able to supersede them to win their divisions. But don't get me wrong, both of these teams are walking in with a lot of confidence. The Cubs have are coming in on a winning streak of 3. They did go 4-6 in their last 10 games, but they did sweep the St. Louis Cardinals in their last series, and in a series they just dominated. For the San Diego Padres, they come in red hot over the last 10, 7-3 over the last 10, and they've won their last 3 games as well. The Cubs were able to squeak out home field advantage as well with that sweep over the Cardinals. So they do get the advantage of being at home. I think something that is really massive in this series, because playing the San Diego Padres on their turf is nothing short of basically a certified way to lose. They're 52-29 at home, the San Diego Padres. So getting that home field advantage for the Chicago Cubs was crucial, as the Cubs are 50-31 at home, so they protect the friendly confines really, really well. Both teams are subpar against 500 teams, 43-43 for the San Diego Padres, 38-46 against the for the Chicago Cubs against 500 teams. The one thing that plays into the Cubs' favor is that they got the home field advantage, and this Padres team, it can struggle when it gets on the road. It's 38-43 on the road. So it's big that they were able to get that home field advantage, because San Diego is a much different team on the road than they are at home. Now, with also being said, the Cubs will not have to face a left-hander in this series as well. All the pitchers, as it stands now, will be right-handed pitchers for the San Diego Padres, and the Cubs just crush right-handed pitching. They are 73-47 against right-handed pitching this season. To be fair, the San Diego Padres have been really good against left-handed pitching as well, at about 26-23 against left-handed pitching. So I believe in this series for both teams, it's going to be who gets the better starting pitching. We know the San Diego Padres have one of the best bullpens in the game, and if the Chicago Cubs are not able to take advantage of the fact that they're so good against right-handed pitching, they're going to have basically everybody back in their lineup. If they are able to take advantage of these starting pitchers in this series and avoid going against that bullpen or getting into long, drawn-out pitchers duels, they could be able to win this series. For the San Diego Padres, it's the exact opposite. You want their starting pitchers to work off their bullpen, give up very minimal runs, maybe keep it down to 2 runs, and allow your bullpen to come in and hold the Cubs at 2 runs or less, or even hold leads when you get them, because you know the San Diego Padres are going to be able to score. Tatis, Machado, Arias, they got Jake Cronenworth, what's the boy's name? Jackson Merrill. They got pretty good players on their offense. For the Cubs, it's Michael Bush, Kyle Tucker, PCA. Seiya Suzuki, so Nico Horner, who's been really good this year. So it's going to be a dogfight in this series. Both teams are going to have to test their bench out. So we'll see. If I'm leaning towards somebody in this series, I'm going to go with the Cubs. It might be biased, but I feel like the Cubs getting that home field advantage was so crucial. I feel like the San Diego Padres are a completely different team on the road. We've seen it in the playoffs in previous years, especially in that Dodgers series. They kind of struggled on the road. So and we have beat this team before. We split the season series. One of them was at home, one of them was away. So I believe that if the Cubs are able to come out, get to their starting pitchers early and avoid that bullpen, they'll be able to win this series. And I believe two, to be honest. I think they crush right-handed pitching. If Kyle Tucker is fully healthy, I feel like he'll come to play. I could be wrong. But the San Diego Padres are nothing to scoff at. They are a very good offensive team. They have a very good bullpen, and their starters can really shut people down as well. I would really love to avoid Yu Darvish if possible if we get to a Game 3, because I do not think James Talion is going to be very good in Game 3. So if anything, the Padres, if they want to win this series, they got to get to the Cubs starting pitching very early. You can get to it. But ultimately, I'm going to go with the Cubs in 2. I'm going to pick my first sweep of the wild card. It might be biased, but I feel like getting that home field advantage for them was damn important. And I feel like not many people are giving this Cubs team a fighting chance, but we'll see. I'm going to go with the Cubs in 2, though. And finally, for the last NL wildcard series, we will have the Cincinnati Reds. Yes, those Cincinnati Reds going up against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Hell of a shock for this team, the Cincinnati Reds, thanks to the New York Mets being absolute chokers because they couldn't win a game against the Miami Marlins. I feel so bad for Mets fans, truly, I do. But the Cincinnati Reds, they earned this, man. They played well in the final few games of the season. They went 7-3 in their last few games of the season. They lost their last game, I believe, but because the New York Mets didn't take care of business, they get into the wild card. They'll be taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers, the division-winning Los Angeles Dodgers, a team that's been red hot going into the playoffs. They 8-2 in their last 10, and they've won 5 straight, I believe. This is a series that's probably going to be one-sided. The first pitch is tomorrow in Game 1 at probably 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, and then 6 o'clock on the West Coast for my West Coast watchers who vote for the Dodgers. Probable pitchers for this series. We know that Hunter Green is probably going to be going against Blake Snell to start the series. We do not know who's going to be going in Game 2. We do not know who's going to be going in Game 3, but I believe Tyler Glasnow will probably be on or either the combination of Glasnow and Ketel will be or Zettel will probably be on the round for the Reds, and maybe Glasnow or somebody or Yamamoto, one of the two, will be in Game 2. That's just my speculation. We don't know. For the Los Angeles Dodgers and Cincinnati Reds, overall, the Dodgers will have home field advantage. They protect home field very well, 52-29 at home. The Cincinnati Reds do not play all that well on the road. They're kind of like the Padres, same record, 38-43 on the road. Hunter Green is probably going to be going Game 1 for this team. If I look at the expanded stats, which won't pop up for me here, the Dodgers are, I think Hunter Green is right-handed, so they do pretty well against right-handed pitching, 69-46 against right-handed pitching, 24-23 against left-handed pitching, so keep that in mind if the Reds do decide to pitch a right-hander. Most people beat right-handers anyway because you see more right-handers anyway, but 62-54 for the Reds against right-handers as well, and 21-25 against left-handers. For the Cincinnati Reds, I felt like they had a pretty good end to their season. They got hot at the right time. They got talent in this lineup as well. Gavin Lux, Spencer Steer, Tyler Stevenson, Ellie De La Cruz, probably Cedric Benson if he does play in this series. They got, I think his name is Alex Hayes. They got Ke'Bryan Hayes as well in this lineup. All this Reds team came together at the right time, man. They were able to sneak into the wild card round, and they're probably a live underdog. But this is not going to be an easy series against one of the best teams in baseball, and probably one of the best postseason teams in baseball. You know that the Dodgers turn it up in the postseason. Betts, Freeman, Hernandez, both Hernandezes, but Kike Hernandez has probably been one of the best postseason players I've ever seen. Max Muncy, of course you got Shohei Ohtani. Andy Pages has been really well, has done really well this year. I personally think that this series is probably going to be a wash. As the Cincinnati Reds, they're just a little lesser talented than the Los Angeles Dodgers. Winner of this series will go face the Philadelphia Phillies, by the way, who are also red hot. It's just, I don't know. They also don't play well at night either, is the Cincinnati Reds. They're 55-49 at night, so keep that in mind. And all their games will be at nighttime, so keep that in mind. I just think that the Reds are a little bit of a year away from actually making some decent noise in the playoffs, but it's good to see them in the playoffs after a long time of them not making it. But personally, if you ask me, I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm going to go with the Dodgers. I'm going to go with them in 2, man. I think that the Reds will put up a pretty decent fight. I think that they'll be in a lot of these matchups, but I'm going to take the postseason Mookie Betts and the postseason Freeman and the postseason Ohtani and Kike Hernandez. I'm going to take all that over the first time. A lot for these guys is their first time being in the playoffs for the Cincinnati Reds. I'm going to go with the Dodgers. I feel like their pitching, while not good, I feel like their lineup is going to be able to cover for them enough. I don't think the Reds are talented, just that talented yet, but in another year or so, they could easily be a real threat in the NL Central. I'm glad that the Reds were able to get in, as much as to the Mets' horrible despair. They took advantage while the Mets did not. But I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think they do pretty well at home. They do not play well against the Central, though, so keep that in mind. They're 12-19 against the Central, but the West for the Cincinnati Reds, 7-13, wasn't much better. So, I think that the Reds will be live underdogs in this series. But I'm going to take the postseason Dodgers over the Cincinnati Reds, and they'll probably go on to face the Philadelphia Phillies. So that's pretty much it for me. Those are my picks going into the wild card round. I'll probably do another video when we get to the divisional round. So to wrap up, I will have the Guardians winning in 3 in the AL, the Yankees winning in 3 in the AL. I got the Dodgers winning in 2, and I got the Cubs winning in 2 in the NL. So that's going to be my picks for this year's wild card matchups. I'm very excited to see postseason baseball back in Chicago, but just overall excited to see postseason baseball at all. These are all really good series and really good teams as well. So it should be interesting to see how this wild card series pans out. Let me know who you guys got in all these wild card matchups. Probably going to get a couple comments that are probably going to be disagreeing with me, but that's what I want. So leave your comments in the comment section. Who do you guys think will move on to the NL and ALDSs? But I'm going to get up out of here, guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video, as it helps the channel grow. Make sure you guys hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I drop one of these MLB videos. Probably do one for the divisional series when it happens if I have time. But make sure you guys follow me on social media. I'll post the giveaway link in the comment section down below so you guys can go get eligible for the giveaway. Follow me on social media as always, guys, as there's bound to be nothing but stuff about baseball and other sports going on this year. And without further ado, guys, I really hope you enjoyed, and I'm out. Peace.